Hi YouTube, please give me a moment while I go live on Facebook. Be right back. We're going to talk about why the market is topping out, okay? Or why it might be topping out. Really important. Okay, should be live on Facebook. Hi everyone, Sami Abu Saad here. I got a question in the comments. I got a comment in the last video that I did. Somebody asked, why is the market potentially topping out? Is it due to the coronavirus thing going on in China, and now we have 7 confirmed incidents in the US? And here's the real reason, okay? It is not due to any reason, the coronavirus or any other reason other than supply and demand. So just think about it for just a minute here. Actually, I do need to show you this disclaimer. Hate to do it, but whatever we discuss is for educational purposes only, okay? Not to be construed as investment advice. So again, I got a comment to my last video, and the person, room member Mark, how are you? Asked if the market was topping out due to the coronavirus that's going on in China mostly, and the answer is no. But allow me to please elaborate on this for just a minute. This will be a short video. So when the market, after a multi-month rally, after a long-term rally, stocks and the market, they get tired. I mean, how many people? There are a limited number of people willing to buy the stock market at current prices. So when it goes up from, let's say a stock goes up from $50 to 300, at some point it's going to run out of buyers, okay? It can't just keep going. So what ends up happening is, when the market is ready to pull back, so this is what ends up happening, is any kind of news, any kind of bearish news triggers a sell-off. Because at that point in time, it's overbought, and everybody that wants to buy has already bought, so there's not a lot of buyers sitting on the sidelines looking to get in, okay? So everybody's already in it, so any kind of bearish news, and even if just a few people start selling, guess what? It's going to cause the market to drop, because there aren't that many buyers left. Does that make sense? On the other hand, when the market is not ready to pull back, is not ready to drop, even if we get bearish news, unless it's extreme, right? Unless it's extreme, usually it does not even result in any pullback at all. It might, maybe one day, maybe we get a doji bar, maybe we get a little drop, and then the next day we go back up. But oftentimes, bearish news is ignored when the market is bullish, and very little news, almost any news, will cause a sell-off if the market is ready for it. So it's all about, the truth is, it's all about supply and demand. It's not due to the coronavirus. It could have been any other reason. Like tomorrow, it could be, if the market were to pull back, news media or Wall Street will say, oh, it's pulling back due to this reason or that reason. But the truth is, it only pulls back due to supply and demand. When it gets overbought, there's not many buyers left. So it's ready to come in. And so, but people usually don't just sell for no reason, especially while it's still going up. They sell on any kind of news. Now, did the news cause the market to drop, or is it the lack of demand and the abundance of supply? It's really the lack of demand and the being overbought. That's what did it. It's not really the coronavirus. It could have been any other reason. It could have been last week the embassy in Baghdad getting bombed. You see what I mean? But when the market is not ready to drop, you drop a nuclear bomb on DC and it doesn't drop, almost, right? So that's really important to understand, because we're often trying to analyze the news to see if a lot of people are often trying to analyze the news to see if it's significant enough to cause a sell-off, or if it should be ignored. It's useless. Just think about it in terms of supply and demand, and think about whether the market is overbought or not overbought. Does that make sense? And let the chart, let price be your guide. And that's it. You don't even need to watch the news. I don't watch the news. I mean, I do get some news. I see some news on the internet, but I never turn on the TV and watch news. And yet I can function just fine. I can trade just fine and do really well without knowing what the news is, without even knowing what's going on. Remember that book, How I Made $2 Million in the Stock Market, by Nicholas Darvis, or Darvis Nicholas, or something like this. Great book, by the way, if you haven't read it. Beautiful, just nice little book. 100 pages long, 110, 20. Very nice read. Feel free, I recommend it. What did he say? When he was in Paris and actually touring on a world tour, right? Didn't know what the news was. He traded just fine, and he made $500,000. When he moved to the US so he can be closer to Wall Street, right, and get the news instantly, he lost $100,000 in 1 month. What does that tell you? You don't need the news. Actually, the news most of the time makes you lose your objectivity, because you start over-analyzing the news and trying to really figure out what kind of impact it's going to have on the market. You don't need to know. You don't need that. Does that make sense? Again, if you don't believe me, no problem. I don't want you to believe me. Just think about it logically. And then I just cited another example, that book, Nicholas Darvis, the author, who was, again, when he didn't get the newspaper, when he didn't know what the news was, what was going on in the US, he was able to make a lot of money, and he was fine. When he got closer, when he moved to New York, so he can be close to the action and get the news instantly, he couldn't trade, because now he lost his objectivity. He started analyzing, he started paying attention, over-analyzing, started paying attention to rumors, right? And it messed up his trading. So does that make sense? So I hope it makes sense. Again, I don't want anybody to believe what I say. I want you to think about it rationally, logically. If it makes sense, then wonderful. Then you and I are on the same page. If it doesn't, then come back at me. Let me know what you think. Give me your counter argument, and let's discuss it some more. But we don't want to believe anything at face value without actually really digging deeper. Okay? So it's all due to supply and demand. When the market is ready, any and even no news at all can cause the market to drop. And when it's not ready to drop, even the most bearish of news almost will not cause more than like a 1 day sell-off or a 1 day little blip on the chart. Okay? Remember, I often say this. In bullish markets, bearish news is good is bullish news. And bullish news is great news. And so in bullish markets, again, bad news is good news and good news is great news. In bearish markets, good news is bad news, meaning any kind of news and the market sells off, even if it's good. The market uses it as a reason to sell off. And bad news is horrific news. The World Trade Organization, the World Health Organization, just a couple days ago, right, released a statement saying the coronavirus thing is a world epidemic. I don't know what they said. I forget what they said, but it was like it's a world crisis. The market rallied, and people in the room said, "What the heck? I thought this is like bearish news." The market wasn't ready to drop. The market actually took off. The market took off, even though they confirmed it's a world thing, a world crisis, or I don't know what the word exact, epidemic or something like this that they use. The market rallied intraday. Explain that. You see what I mean? All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little discussion. Feel free to comment below if you'd like to, come back at me. Let me know what you think. And also, if you enjoyed it, be sure to hit the like button. I would appreciate it. All right, I turned off my computers and everything, my system, because I was going to take off. I was going to go somewhere. But then I saw that question in the comments to my last video, and I decided, what the heck, I'm just going to, come on quickly and share with you my opinion rather than type in a comment response. I thought I'd just do it via video better. So again, hope that was of help, and I'll talk to you next time. Enjoy the Super Bowl tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. Take care, everybody. Have fun.